Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be looking into some facts and secrets about Yakuza 0 that you might have missed in your first playthrough. So with that out of the way, let's get right into it. Did you know that Kiryu's birthday is the same as the Yakuza creator Toshiro Nagoshi, who were both born on June 17th? In the original Yakuza, Kiryu is stated to be 20 years old, which would make his birth year 1975, which was actually a mistake. This was later fixed in the remake, where he is stated to be 37 years old in 2005. So, Kiryu's facial features from Yakuza 3 and onwards are partly based on Takuya Kuroda, his Japanese voice actor, and this render was previously used for Kiryu Kazumanosuke in Ryu Gago Toku Kenzan. Kiryu has become such a popular character that he does appear as a guest character in a variety of different games, such as Sega Heroes and Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, Hot Shots Golf as a guest character, Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise as an alternate skin for Kenshiro, Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight as a DLC costume for the protagonist, and Rainbow Six Siege as an alternate skin. Kiryu is one of the most requested characters for a guest appearance in many fighting games, such as Tekken 7 and Super Smash Bros. However though, Nagoshi has expressed his refusal to allow Kiryu from ever appearing in any fighting games, and he stated that fighting games usually have female characters, and I personally don't really want to see Kiryu hit any women. The pager that Kiryu is seen holding in the game is commonly called a pocket bell, as it seems to be the one-way pager that can only receive messages through numbered addresses. The name Nishikiyama and Nishiki are derived from the word Nishiki carp, and Kiryu also makes a reference to this at the Sushi Gin restaurant, as one of the menu items is a sushi set made from Nishiki carp. And Kiryu comments that the name Nishiki brings back a lot of memories for him, and a Nishiki carp is also Nishiki's tattoo design on his back. The Yakuza 0 Hot Dog magazine reveals a lot of interesting facts and details about Nishikiyama's character and what he does behind the scenes. For one, Nishikiyama is in charge of a rehab program that sets up people with honest jobs as well as hostess scouting and restaurant troubles. Nishikiyama washes his hair daily and spends an hour with the leave-in treatment as well as taking half an hour to dry it. So yeah, the guy always has very beautiful hair, like all the time. I thought this one was funny, but Nishikiyama uses his Dojima family pin to get off parking tickets. Nishikiyama also drives the highest quality domestic brand sedan, and it costed him like 6 million yen. He even installed a new 5-set cassette player and car stereo as well as a car phone. Nishikiyama's preferred brand of cigarettes is 7 Stars. Nishikiyama regularly sends gifts and money back to the Sunflower Orphanage. Nishikiyama's lighter costed him 100,000 yen, which is the one he lent to Kiryu and the one he is seen using at the beginning of the game's intro. You know, the one he never gave back. The closest real-world parallel organization to the Tojo Clan is the Someyushi Kai, a Yakuza syndicate group who operates in the Kamurocho real-life inspiration of Kabukicho. Did you know that the Tojo Clan headquarters was built with a combination of traditional Japanese and modern Western architecture? So the inside of the building holds many secret rooms and laid out pathways that gives you the impression that you're in some kind of maze, and this building was constructed this way to assist the clan in the event of an invasion. The Tojo Clan headquarters was built by the Tojo Clan's first chairman, Makoto Tojo, and he did make sure to incorporate a large traditional Japanese garden as well, as he was an admirer of such things. Kuzei's tattoo depicts 3 types of demons, such as an Emna, the judge and ruler of hell, on his back, the 2 guardians of hell known as Gozo and Mezu on each arm, and the main tattoo Enma is a reference to Kuzei judging Kiryu, since Kuzei is an obstacle in Kiryu's path that keeps him in line. So even after Kiryu was asked to be banished from the Dojima family, Kuzei ended up judging Kiryu's path until eventually admitting that Kiryu has become the real deal, a Yakuza. Shibusawa's tattoo depicts the green azure dragon, Seryu, one of the 4 Chinese celestial beings and the protector of eastern Japan. So this dragon is shown off by flying downward as a bringer of wealth and prosperity to the earth, which does make a lot of sense seeing how Shibusawa's role within the Dojima family is dealing with financial matters and bringing in large amounts of money for his boss. Unlike Kiryu's dragon tattoo, the Seryu dragon does not appear clutching a pearl, which represents its authority and control over water. Oh yeah, and Shibusawa wants the exact same desire that Kiryu does, the same glory, the respect, and authority that Kazuma has. Furthermore, Shibusawa's dragon tattoo is facing right, while the opposed dragon Kiryu is facing left. So yeah, they were meant to clash at some point, and with both of them saying the following line, that there can only be one dragon. Awano's tattoo depicts Momotaro, the main character from a popular Japanese folktale who is about a lazy protagonist that embraces the easy life of leisure rather than carrying out his duties to others. This is actually reflected in Awano's story that he explains to Majima Goro before their fight, that at one point in his life, Awano was actually the strongest in the Dojima family, but as time passed on, he let his strength wither away as he became attracted to the idea of dissident living. Did you know that Tachibana's tattoo on his left forearm, which depicts a gray and orange bat with tatters on its wings, pretty much represents Tachibana's impaired physical state, and his mental scars left behind by the hardships of his own life that he faced throughout his whole life, such as the discrimination for his mixed race heritage and the separation from his family. So in Yakuza 0, Kamurocho is a fictional district of Tokyo, and it's modeled after Kabukicho, Tokyo's renowned red light district and entertainment precinct situated in the Shinjuku ward. Executive producer and creator of the Yakuza franchise, Toshiro Nagoshi, wanted players to enjoy walking around the streets of Kamurocho, and some in-game buildings and locations such as the Don Quixote discount store, Pronto Cafe, and the Club Sega arcade game centers are direct recreations of its real-life counterparts and are situated in their accurate locations, such as the Kamuro Theater in place of the Shinjuku Koma Theater or Shinjuku Match Bowl, where Milano Bowling is supposed to be situated. Producer Masayoshi Kikuchi and writer Hiroki Sakamoto spoke with many Hostess Club female employees, which are prominently featured in the franchise's games. Kikuchi said that aspects of the conversations involving Hostess characters in the Yakuza franchise are lifted directly from his personal interactions with these hostesses. According to Kikuchi, Kabukicho is within an hour away from the Sega development office, so team members could make frequent short trips to make videos or photos for each game, and team members led by Nagoshi would also visit drinking establishments within the Roppongi and Kabukicho districts at least 2 or 3 nights a week, and converse with people in the local area as part of their research for each Yakuza game. Kikuchi noted that feedback from the Japanese public is predominantly positive and claimed that a local club owner was full of praise for the realistic recreation of the Kabukicho area and its residents after playing the first Yakuza game during an interview with media publication. So the Sega High-Tech Land store references a lot of Sega games, such as Space Harrier, which is a third-person arcade rail shooter game developed by Sega in 1985. Another game called Outrun was designed by Yu Suzuki and is often considered a milestone in the driving racing genre. Sega's UFO Catcher is an arcade prize redemption game created by, Sega. Galaxy Force is a rail shooter video game developed and released by Sega as well in 1988. Super Hang-On is a motorcycle racing game, and the SD-1 is basically the Sega Mark III Master System in Japan. Hideyori Igashira's health bar mistakenly has his name written as Hideyuka Igashira, which is Mr. Shakedown. So yeah, there was a little translation error there. Large buildings with giant blue penguins in a Santa cap is a mascot of the Don Quixote's locations in Southeast Asia and Hawaii. It's technically like a Walmart and a Spencer's like all in one store or something like that, but yeah. The Gotta Go Fast skill for Kiryu and Goro Majima is basically a reference to Sonic the Hedgehog when he says gotta go fast. Ayu the Dominatrix sub-story is a reference to the media franchise on How to Train Your Dragon, but instead is How to Train Your... Majima's tattoo covers his biceps and upper chest, and it consists of floral motif with the demon known as Hanya. Did you know that the original Yakuza game, Goro Majima's tattoo, is not a Hanya, but instead is a blue entity that resembles an Oni demon that only covers his left breast? Majima Girl's likeness was featured in many other games just like Kiryu. For example, in Persona 5 Dancing Starlight is a DLC costume of Goro Majima for An Takamaki, and his costume and hairstyle also appears in Phantasy Star Online too. In Japanese culture, there's a saying known as Ryoko Aitsu, and the meaning is that tiger has the strength to rival a dragon, and Shimano's tattoo features a roaring tiger, which fits his position as a strong force that often opposes Kiryu. Taiga Saijima's tattoo, Goro Majima's brother, blood brother, features a roaring tiger, surrounded by bamboo grass, and in the religion of Buddhism, the tiger and the dragon are said to be equal to each other, not to mention that his name Taiga is meant to sound like the word tiger. When Oda and Kiryu pays a visit to the squatter at the apartment, he is playing a Sega Dreamcast or Mark III Master System, which you can see in the background there. Nishitani's fight card displays Kijin Clan Chairman rather than Kijin Clan Patriarch, so yeah, there was a little mistake there as well. Nishitani is based on Masao Kakihara from the ultra-violent manga known as Ichi the Killer, who is a Yakuza enforcer that begins to create a spree of murders. Even though Nishitani looks like he just came out of nowhere, he's already been convicted with multiple crimes, and apparently, according to him, he feels at ease in prison. Oh, and some of his crimes are for multiple murders, attempted kidnapping, assault with a deadly weapon, and of course, public indecency. Oh yeah, so I'm pretty sure a lot of you noticed this one in this specific cutscene, but for some strange reason, there's a graphical glitch where Majima walks through a closed door in a cutscene. It's this one right here. The announcer of the Underground River Styx Arena is Tekken's own announcer, Lenny Hart, from the Tekken series. And you might have heard his voice as well in the Tekken 8 trailers where they're featuring every character that's getting shown. So the model girls in the Grand Hara videos appear as characters in the side stories or sub-story events, using their actual real first names. Also, in the case of Identical Stranger, are said to be mostly everyday people, such as college students, crossword buffs, convenience store cashiers, and some game center staff, who happen to look exactly like the AV idols of the same name, which is lampshaded in a sub-story the girl in the video. Several other side characters, namely the 4 Mr. Shakedowns, the 2 Mr. Moneybags, and the 2 Mr. Libidos, are also named and modeled after their voice actors. So the game was first announced in a special Yakuza event on the 24th of August on 2014, together along with a trailer, where 30 of the most popular AV idols as voted by fans in an earlier poll were also announced to make cameo appearances in the game, with the top 10 having more significant roles in the game, and the top 5 would appear as the highest tier hostess models in the Capred Club minigame. Sega wanted to make Majima stand out more than Kiryu, as the two share the role of protagonist, and Sega described Kiryu, tough but honorable and keeps to himself a bit. That pretty much implies that there's little difficulty in writing his character. Yakuza 0 showed a part of Kiryu's story that Sega wanted players to know before Yakuza 6, and Kiryu's traits in Yakuza 0 were very specifically changed to a loose cannon hothead, to the point that longtime fans would be surprised by his actions. So yeah, he was more of a loose cannon in Yakuza 0, which did a great job in character development for Kiryu. So the goal of the localization team was to make Majima and Kiryu more likable, although Scott Strichart, associated producer of Atlas USA, believed that Kiryu was more popular than Majima in the Western countries. But despite Kiryu's fame, Sato noted that players ended up enjoying Goro Majima far more than Kiryu in the franchise. I mean, how could you not fall in love with Goro Majima? I mean, introducing a character like Goro Majima in that first scene was actually very amazing to watch. You know, when he's in a club and he's dealing with that drunk customer. I mean, that's how you introduce a character very well. The Chinese localization of the game replaces a late-game character, Lao Gui, a Chinese assassin hired by the Ojima family, with the face model and voice of Hong Kong actor Sam Lee. In sub-story number 12, Kiryu mentions that he hopes he'll never have to fight a zombie again, which is a reference to Yakuza Dead Souls. When we first meet Goro Majima in Yakuza 0, he does say it's showtime, just like he did in Yakuza Dead Souls, in one of the sub-stories before entering the quarantine zone. Some Yakuza 0 NPCs are known as Miracle Johnson and Steven Spining, which are obvious nods to Michael Jackson and Steven Spielberg. Did you know that Ogita, the rival dancer in Kiryu's sub-story, is actually Haruka's dance instructor from Yakuza 5? Dulce Kamiya from the Postcard sub-stories is also the host of the Princess League TV program from Yakuza 5. Sotenbori, the city that Goro Majima's campaign takes place in, is directly modeled after Dotonbori respectively. Yakuza 0 does show a side of illegal activities that did take place around the 80s, such as Japan's illegal gambling games, and RGG Studios leans on this reality throughout each game. So stuff like gambling is a huge source of revenue for the Yakuza, gambling in things like poker, shogi, shady back alley fights, or even catfights. Many in-game items are references to actual products in some way, or in some cases directly named after them as well, such as Mountain Dew and Malt's Beer. Okay, I thought this one was pretty cool, but did you know that the sub-story Aruka's Quest is a direct reference to one of Japan's biggest impacts of video game releases, that being Dragon Quest III. So, on the day of the game's release, approximately 300 school students were arrested for truancy while standing in line to purchase a copy of Dragon Quest III, and following the game's launch, an increase in street muggings was on the rise, where many fans got their copy of Dragon Quest III stolen, and these events are directly referenced in Yakuza 0's sub-quest known as Attica Quest. And in this sub-story basically begins with a young boy waiting in line to get his copy of Attica Quest, which ends up getting stolen by somebody, and Kiryu is basically sent to get the copy of the game back. So I thought that sub-quest was pretty cool in general, with the history behind it, and not to mention that Dragon Quest III also came out around the same year that Yakuza 0 takes place in. The flashback we see with Majima and Saejima is taken straight out of Yakuza 4 with an added black filter. The fortune teller of Yakuza 0 does mention to Kiryu that she sees a vision of a kid running out on a concert stage, which is obviously a reference to Yakuza 5's after credits scene, with Haruka's idol performance. So Majima and Saejima and Kiryu both have a thing for fighting bears, which is an obvious reference to Bandai Namco's Tekken series, and not to mention that there's also the whole thing about fighting a bear within that arena, so yeah, it's an obvious reference to Tekken series. A lot of Yakuza 0 characters' likenesses are taken from their voice actors, such as the various patriarchs and the chairmen found within the Yakuza families. And I'll just show them in a slideshow here while I'm explaining this to you so I don't go in a whole list and biography of every single person, but here, check them out. And that about does it for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this look into some interesting facts and secrets about Sega's Yakuza 0 game. And if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to drop me a like. And if you want to see more future content like this in a variety of JRPG games, make sure to subscribe as well so you don't miss out on the next upload. But anyways, with that out of the way, thanks again for watching and I'll catch you guys on the next upload. Take care, everyone.